Today we will be seeing the security challenge posed by mobile devices. So basically, so uh, we will see what are the security challenges posed by the mobile devices. So basically, we know that mobility has two main challenges. And what are they? They are first one is handheld devices, and the second one is remote access. Now, that's all. So basically, mobility, that is nothing but movement of mobiles from one area to the other. Okay, so it is basically having two main challenges. The first one is handheld devices. The second one is remote access. So what is the issue with the handheld devices? Now, whenever we are using the handheld devices, the information can be controlled from outside of the environment. Okay, from outside environment, the information in any particular handheld devices can be controlled. Next is remote access. Whenever we say remote access, the next challenge is remote access, where the protected environment is being granted. Okay, but you can attack a system and access it. You can attack a particular system through a remote access. Okay, if you are outside an organization, that's what we'll see. One is a device level challenge, and next one is organization level challenge, where handheld devices are micro level challenges, whereas remote access, where you attack a system or get control of a system on a system in an organization by remotely accessing. That is nothing but a micro challenges. Next, what are the well-known challenges in mobile security? The very first one is managing the registry settings and configurations. The second challenge is authentication service security. The third challenge is cryptography security. Next is lightweight directory access protocol security. Then is remote access server security. Next is media player control security. And the last one is network application program interface security. Now these are the different challenges we'll be seeing individually. So first we'll see what is a registry setting. Registry set. What is a how are you managing the registry setting and configuration? So what is the issue basically with what is the challenge of an challenge for a mobile with this registry settings? Okay. Now, whenever we say registry settings are nothing but these are the basic settings. Suppose you have your mobile. Whenever you install or uninstall some data, you install some new app in your mobile, so all the data related to it, that is nothing but any basic information, that is what is the version, what is that app, what are the settings related to it, everything is stored in a setting, in a folder called as registry setting. Now this one best example of registry setting is Microsoft Active Synchronize. Now what is this Microsoft Active Synchronize? Is nothing but it is a software which is a gateway between your PC and your mail. That is nothing but MS Outlook. Okay. Now what it does is whatever you send from the PC, it tries to synchronize your MS Outlook, and this can be, that is nothing but transferring of data from PC to Outlook. That is nothing but updating your MS Office documents, whatever picture, music, videos, what you all have. So if you take in your cell phones, whatever thing you capture in your phone, everything by default is stored in photos. If you have a Gmail, you all better know this. You all already know this. Whatever you upload or whatever you capture, it by default stores in photos. Okay, that is nothing but synchronizing your mobile with your Gmail. Okay, so this Active synchronized software, Microsoft Active synchronized software can directly synchronize with MS Exchange server. Okay, and this server is basically used to keep emails, calendar, notes, and contacts updated wireless. Okay. Now, then what are the issue related is? We have seen what is active synchronization, the example for a registry setting. What is the issue? This this registry setting has become an important issue because of its free flow of information. As we have seen previously, what is it directly synchronizes with MS Exchange server. That is nothing but all the data which is there in the particular PC or mobile. Okay, that is synchronized with the emails, calendar, notes and contacts and everything. So this free flow of information becomes an issue. Okay, so thus you have to establish thus establishing trusted groups through which an appropriate registry settings becomes crucial. That is nothing but thus what happens is we have to get few security tools. Okay, that is nothing but one is group policy through which we are synchronizing the PC as well as your MS Outlook. And one more issue with this is, as we are keep on updating the mobile, okay, with our mail and other stuff, calendar and all. So this, what happens is the new mobile, what do you say? New mobile applications are constantly being provided with help of new mobile devices are constantly being updated with help to protect against all the hacking. That is nothing but virus, spyware, worms, malicious, and so on. That's why we use standard group policies so that they can make a secure flow of information between the PC and MS Outlook. And with updation of everything, updation of your PCs, phones, even updations of the patches in your phone, these updations of this makes the computer more protected from the virus, malwares, spywares, worms and all. Next is authentication server security. Basically, in this authentication service security, you have two components of security. That is security of devices and security of networks. Okay, and a secure network access. Basically a network access involves mutual authentication between the device and the server. Basically, that is nothing but whenever, if you're providing us a security, so basically whenever someone wants to enter into a device or wants to access the server, a mutual authentication is required after that. And this is to basically ensure that the only authenticated devices. Okay, and why are we doing this mutual authentication? It is to ensure that the devices are connected to the network, so that no malicious code uh, no malicious code can trick the device, okay, to send a request to the server. Thus the networks play a crucial role in the security of mobiles. Okay, So what we seen till here in authentication service security, there are two components in security. One is security of device and security of networks. So how can so basically how can we establish a secure connection is by having a mutual authentication between the devices and the server. Okay, and once we have this mutual authentication, it ensures that only authenticated devices are connected to the network. Now, once these are connected to the network, so basically no malicious code can get in or impersonate the service provider to trick the device to get into that particular network. Thus, the networks also play a crucial role in the security of mobile devices. Okay, and there are three uh, three attacks, three eminent kind of attacks, eminent kind of attacks in mobile devices. That is nothing but push attack, pull attack, and crash attacks. Next is cryptographic security of mobile devices. Now, this cryptographically generated address, or what you called it as, basically uh, uh, the cryptography the cryptography generated address. This is basically generated. This particular CGA is basically generated. This is basically generated in IPv6. That is nothing but Internet version 6. Internet version 6, where it generates a 64-bit address. Okay, and this address is generated by hashing the owner's public address. Okay, so next, the address of the owner, basically what it uses is, it uses a private key to maintain the address ownership and to sign messages sent from address without a public key infrastructure. So basically what CGA does is, in cryptographic security of mobile devices, what we are doing, what we do is, we generate a CGA, that is nothing but cryptographically generated address. And how it is generated, where it is generated in internet provider version 6. Now when we say internet provider version 6, basically it means it is a 64-bit address. And how is this address generated in IPv6? With the help of by hashing owner's public key address. Okay, so the address of the owner uses is corresponding private key to maintain the address ownership and to sign the messages sent from the address without a public key infrastructure. And why do we use this authentication? Is basically it is used to protect the IP layer signaling protocols. Okay, and this is also used in key exchange and create an IPsec security association for encryption and data authentication. And one example of this CGA is Cryptographic Provider Manager in Palm OS is a system-wide suite, okay, where they use cryptographic services. That is nothing but in Palm OS 5, that's a software which is used as an OS for few mobiles, where you use this cryptographic services. Next is LDAP security for handheld mobile devices. So basically when we say LDAP, that is nothing but lightweight directory access protocol. LDAP is nothing but lightweight directory access protocol. Now this, as we know, we are saying, as I'm saying the abbreviation, that is lightweight directory access protocol. So basically it is nothing but a software protocol which is enabling anyone to locate the data locate the data about the organization, about the individual, and the other resources such as files, audio devices, some important files which are available, okay, and any devices which they want to find in a network, whether on public internet or a corporate intranet. So this LDAP is a light version of DAP, that is nothing but directory access protocol. And this LDAP directory, okay, this LDAP directory basically it it is a simple tree like structure where it consists of root directory, okay, root directory which branch out to countries. These countries branch out to organizations, and then organizations branch out to organization units, and this organization units branch out to individuals. That's what is this. You have a root directory which branch out to countries, different n number of countries. These countries basically branch out to organizations. Each country have several of organizations. Now this organization branches out to organization units, okay, and this organization branch out to each and every individual, okay. That is the structure of LDAP directory. It's a simple tree like structure. Now this LDAP, the LDAP server is called as directory system agent. It receives some this particular LDAP server. Okay, this is a structure, and this server is called as directly system agent. It receives a request from a user and takes the responsibility of the request and passing it to other directory system agent as necessary, but ensuring that single coordination response from user. Next is RAS. Now, this RAS is important for protecting business sensitive data. RAS security is basically important. It is used for protecting business sensitive data that may reside on employees mobile, okay, that may reside on employees mobile devices. In terms of cyber security, mobile devices are basically very much sensitive, okay. in addition to be in addition to this, being vulnerable to unauthorized access, mobile devices, okay, because mobile devices are basically vulnerable to unauthorized access. And as we know, these mobile devices, they if it was connected to some other, or let me take more an example, like if a mobile devices was connected, a mobile device was connected to an organization, later it is connected to some local Wi-Fi, okay, and an attacker is available in that Wi-Fi, so that attacker can get all the data from the mobile of the victim, okay, because he was connected to the organization, so that attacker can get all the, he was connected to the organization, so attacker can get all the data of the organization with the help of Wi-Fi details, okay. And how does he, because what he does is he acts as he through the Wi-Fi he gets the details, and he acts as a victim and try to steal the data from the corporate systems. Another threat is port scanning. What an attacker does is it tries to send some malicious code, okay, where it tries to detect the IP address, okay, the IP address of that particular port, okay. And what we can do is, as a precaution, we can have a personal firewall. Here you have RAS system, where you have RAS server, remote access server. Okay, you have clients, you have servers, you have database. Okay, so the first, okay, so first, what does the attacker does here? The first, what does the attacker basically does? Here, the attacker use a domain name system, that is DNS. Okay, DNS server to locate the IP address of a connected computer, either through mobile devices. Okay, then a domain is a where, as we know, the particular domain is a collection of sites that are related in some sense. So what you can do is, as we can see, a laptop is connected, and you have this, through this laptop or mobile phone, the attacker can get all the data related to the Wi-Fi it is connected. So what we can do is, we can provide a RAS security at the client side. Okay, that is nothing but remote access server. Now after that, next, after it can we have said that it can hack the handheld devices, it can also hack the database. So you can provide a security of RAS at the server side also, and also for the network, also for the network. Next is media player control security. Now whenever the word media player control security comes, you'll basically know you'll basically know that in today's young generation, all basically listen to music. They open n number of websites, different websites with different with different varieties of musics, right, or video files or something. Now what attacker can do is, this attacker can attack the particular mobiles or the laptops or personal digital assistants, anything which we use, okay, for listening music or something. It can attack them through this music gateway. Okay, because whatever we see, let it be video or music or music file, audio file, whatever we see, they may be corrupted. Okay, and if you try to open that particular website, suppose we have seen many times, suppose we are trying to open a particular music website or something. With that particular website, you can find 3 to 4 websites also coming up. That is nothing but that particular website is already having some virus. And a best example for this is in year 2002, where Microsoft Corporation has already warned the users that the Windows Media Player, okay, the particular Windows Media Player which we normally use, other than VLC, basically MS Office. This Microsoft will also have, if you have MS Office or OS, Windows OS, you can find this Microsoft Media Player also available. Now this Microsoft Media Player, at that time in 2002, it also allows the corrupt files to pass through it. It also allows the, it also plays the corrupted files, okay, which has been basically hijacked, which basically hijacks the system of a victim. Next is network API security for mobile computing applications. Now, whenever we say network API security mobile computing applications, we basically speak about electronic commerce, or what you say it as e-commerce. Now, whenever we are using this e-commerce, that is nothing but we are using all the web services provided by the mobile computing. Okay, all the organizations, basically what they do, they develop several APIs which enables software and hardware developers to write a single application to target multiple security platform. Because suppose you have many e-commerce going on now, since 21st century, you have Flipkart, Amazon, and you have various others also other than this, on machineries, on laptops, on and many other things. Okay, so what happens with this is, with advent of e-commerce, there is also upgrade in the attacking of these particular websites. Because what happens is, what developer do is, they basically provide APIs which is same for both software and hardware developers. That is nothing but they're writing applications which is providing security for all the platforms. So that's all for this session.